So how is everybody?
Well, thank you.
You all know me, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you little things about me that you probably don't know. I grew up on a farm in Chuckytuck, Virginia, farm ranch. I was the firstborn named Lee, and my father really wanted a boy. And so basically, he raised me with the perception of, when you're on a ranch farm, you need help. And so you got to know all these things. You got to know how to drive a tractor at 7 years old, and you got to know how to shoot a gun by the time you're 11, and you got to know how to fight because you're a scrawny little thing, and you got to go and do something in case you get attacked. So I had this great upbringing of self-reliance. Now I won't mind telling you, it was a lot of trauma in this this environment, but what doesn't kill you makes you strong. Okay, so that's a little bit of background on me, and you all know that I've done television for many years and been a speaker and wrote books and all kinds of stuff. So I know that all of you probably, as owners of martial arts business, get asked by the local community on a regular basis to speak at the elementary schools and high schools and colleges, yes? So I recently had this experience where I was involved in an elementary school, and the teacher had given a homework assignment to all of the kids to go home and ask their parents to share, so they could share with the class the next day, a family story that had a moral to it. So little Johnny got up there first and was going to give his story, and he said, well, my family are farmers, and we have chickens. And we had a lot of eggs one day, and we put them all in this big basket, and we put them on the truck's front seat, and unfortunately we hit a big bump. And all the eggs fell, and the basket and all the eggs broke. The moral of the story was, don't put all your eggs in the same basket. We know that. Teacher was thrilled, she's applauding, and little Mary gets up next, and she is saying, well, we're farmers too. And we had 20 eggs that were getting ready to hatch. And sadly, only 10 of them hatched. So we only got 10 little chickens. And so she said, the moral of my story is, right, don't count your chickens until they hatch. And teacher is applauding, very happy this experiment was working well for her. And so then little Dave gets up and he goes, well, we're from a military family. And my dad last night tells me this story about Aunt Karen. And Aunt Karen was a flight instructor in the war, and her plane got hit, and on the way down she's searching around the plane to protect herself, and the only thing she could find was a bottle of whiskey, a machine gun, and a machete. And so her plane lands right in the middle of 100 enemy soldiers. And so she took the machine gun and she killed 70 of those soldiers until the bullets ran out. And then she killed 20 more with the machete until the blade broke. And then she killed the rest with her bare hands. And the teacher at this time is completely terrified, mortified, doesn't know what to do. And she said, oh my heavens, what did your father say was the moral of this story? And he said, the moral of the story was, don't mess with Aunt Karen when she's been drinking. I hope you enjoyed that. So what I really want to talk about today, one, I'm very honored to be here because I think you all know I work for a lot of different corporations. I've worked for AT&T, Ford Global, I worked for NASA for 12 years, Walt Disney for 12 years as a teacher and a subcontractor, Ford Global. My list is incredible. But the niche that I've been the most proud of is you guys, because you are really the future trainers. You're taking kids and changing their life in ways that you might not have remembered why you got into this business. And I like to think of you as the warrior sages of life, because you have actually taken what is known on a metaphysical level as the hero journey. Does that make sense? Because what you do is actually phenomenal, and I sincerely regret that when I grew up that I didn't have some opportunity to be part of this kind of energy where you're teaching people mentally, emotionally, and physically not only how to control their body and mind, but I mean you're teaching them leadership skills and things like that. Does that make sense? And so what you do has so much more meaning than what the average person does for money. Because I know you do this for money, because we have to do it for money. I mean, we got people to support and we're the providers, but there's something inside of you, in each and every one of you, that you've got to remember, this is the hero journey. You're meant to do this, that you were sort of born to do this. How many of you actually feel that way, that this is a calling? So I feel like my calling in life was to be a communicator, to stand up in front of people, hopefully get them laughing in the beginning, and then, share with them some truths about themselves. So some of the truths that I want to share today, because I have a short time, so I want to make it pretty important to you, is to keep in mind you have a lot of challenges ahead of us in life. The world is in absolute chaos. Is that true? Complete chaos. Everything is upside down. What used to be sane and moral and right has now been completely devastated. It is people like you that have to stand up in your power and absolutely, with your heart, soul, and mind, be such an example of leadership in not just what you teach, but who you are as a human being, how you raise your family, how you deal with conflict, and all the things that you do every single day. And I want to share with you a myth of life, and you were just talking about when I came in. The myth of life is that the most thing you have to control is your time. Isn't that what we're all taught everywhere all the time? And I'm not saying it's not true, but there's something actually much more important than your time that you're going to need to really focus in on and pay attention to, and that is called energy management, and that is your energy management. And Stephen was talking about this when I walked in, that if we do not absolutely control who and what gets our attention, who and what triggers us to go off the chart and lose our path and what we want to do in life, and what things upset us so bad that we don't make good decisions. We've lived in a world that has robbed us of authentic decision making. Since we were children, we were told that the government, the healthcare, the educational system, the big corporations, turn your authority over to them. They know what they're doing. Trust us. Well, that hasn't worked out real well for us lately at all. And so I'm saying let's start really paying attention, take back our authority of how we live our life, how we run our business, how we run our family, and how we run our personal mind. Because we all know that what you feed multiplies. And we've got to feed the vision of us no matter what the hell is going on in the world. That we are calm, we're collected, we are leaders. We're going to win. We can figure it out. If we haven't found the solution, we will find the solution. Yes? And everybody has, by the way, energy. You understand energy. We're vibrational energy. People read us on all kinds of levels. You got to believe that to the core of your being. If you want to stand in front of people and really influence them, it's not by using tricks. It is by absolutely being so damn strong of who you are as a person and a soul and your beliefs in yourself that they are automatically attracted to you to be able to lead them and their children. And so we're going to talk about the whole kinds of the energy that you have. So the first thing I want to talk about is remembering that your real job is to manage yourself. So the 5 kind of energies that I like to talk about is, okay, so like our physical energy. One of the disciplines, and you're very familiar with, having discipline. If you want to have physical energy, one of the disciplines you have to have is to be aware of what you're actually putting into your body. Because what you put in your body is going to either give you energy or deplete your energy. And we live in a world, say I grew up on a farm. I didn't have any I've been one of the healthiest people on earth because my foundation of growing up on the farm, we had a 2-acre garden. We ate no chemicals. We were self-sufficient. We were pretty much off the grid. My father liked dogs better than people, okay? So we had like 12 dogs, lots of horses. We had herds of Black Angus cattle. We had this huge farm. I had my first job at 12 years old. I had 37 people on a farm that I got in 110 acres to go and literally chop peanuts. And the only thing I had to deal with them with was give them water or give them time off. My nickname at the time was One More Row, because when they get to the row, they want to sit down. And I'm like, no, one more row, we're going to go through, then you get water, you get to rest, and then, and so I had to be out in front of them, I had to work harder, I had to be positive, and, it was a matter of, there was really no money for these workers. It was a matter of how determined was I. Now, my father was going to give me $100 at the end of that summer. I was really in tune for this $100. And I had 4 other managers to compete with. And I was damn sure going to beat all of them because I have a real competitive spirit. But, one of the things that you've got to do every day is when you get up, be very conscious of, okay, what is my day like today? What am I going to actually feed myself today to get through the day that my head is clear, that my energy is up, that I'm in a happy mood? So I will tell you, every time I'm speaking, this is what I'm going to have. It doesn't make any difference where it is. I'm having a steak in the morning, because that's what I had as a kid every day. I'm going to have 2 eggs, and I'm going to have protein. And I'm going to have a cup of coffee, damn well. And I'm going to have some water, and I'm going to take vitamins. And even when I'm on the road, this is how I eat. You all know who Brian Tracy is?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Brian Tracy and I were speaking.
A fellow black belt.
That's right.
You guys started running a martial arts school.
That's correct. I completely forgot that. Thank you. So Brian Tracy and I were speaking at the Grand Ole Opry, and we were actually on stage with Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, which was,
Wow.
a real highlight of my life.
Oh,
By the
yeah.
way, that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because I made it happen. I visualized it. I commanded it from the universe. Hear me. I commanded it from the universe. All of these big names, all of these big things, nobody else thought of that stuff. I thought of that stuff. If you're going to do something, do the whole thing. Don't be any half-ass stuff. You're in or you're out. There's no try. So where am I? All right, Brian Tracy and I are at breakfast. He and I are having steak and eggs. We are really filling up for the day. All the other speakers, they're having little orange juice and muffins. Bran muffins, and they're harassing us. And he and I look at each other and laugh and go, what dumbasses. That's not it. That's, you get carbs, they're going to wear out right away. You got to have really load yourself up. So being a farmer's daughter, we ate like kings. We had no money, but we had land. We had everything that we needed. We really did. My father's greatest thing was we eat well. And so I have this foundation of no chemicals for the first 18 years of my life. The very first time I ever tasted store-bought rolls, I thought they were the most disgusting thing I had ever eaten. It was horrible. So I'm not saying we can all do that, not that I don't want to go off the grid today, but what we can do is really think about your physical energy. What enlivens you? I mean, how much exercising are you actually doing, not just because of your appearance and how people are going to judge you because what you look like in this industry, but what are you actually doing that enlivens you? The other thing is, on a physical energy level, when have you determined exactly when your best creative time of the day is, your biorhythms? So, for example, I get up between 4 and 5 a.m. every day. Now, that's because that's a hangover from growing up. I had the horses to deal with. I got up at 4 a.m. I got up before the sun rose because that's what you do on a ranch and a farm. So why break a good habit just because life gets a little soft and you have a little money and you can get up later? But I know the best time of my connection with spirit is first thing in the morning, no phones, me and the dog and the cat. I do my prayers, I do my meditation, I do my scripting. So if you haven't heard me talk about scripting, is I write my future as if it's already occurred. And there's a reason for doing that. You have a conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind. As long as you want to write it like this, these are a great affirmation. For as long as I can remember, and then you fill in the blank, I have earned X number of dollars a year. As long as I can remember, I am respected and appreciated by the people I work with. As long as I can remember, I have had loving, kind, supportive relationships. As long as I can remember, I am healthy. Does that make sense? Next place. I am now. Say all the same things. After you write those out, then you go to the superconscious and you actually say, I will always be earning healthy relationships. By the way, I know this is going to sound strange, but I do believe in the power of the mind. The power of the mind is so strong, your memories are more important than what you think about the future. Because if you can convince your mind it's already happened and you're living it, you will live it. So when I tell you that if you look at my bio, go to milteer.com, and I'm a bio builder. My butt is about the biggest names, the biggest corporations, because look, I went to college for 1 year and I said, this is not for me. They're not teaching me a damn thing about learning about how to make money. This is a waste of time. I want to know how to make money. So all I did was ask them, how do you monetize this? How do you leverage this? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Tell me how to do that. And they actually had little meetings amongst themselves about how to get rid of me because I'm a pain in the ass to them. And after I went home and I said to my parents, this is the greatest waste of time I could have. I already was a rock and roll disc jockey when I was 17, lying to the radio station, telling them I was 19. I had a full-time job in high school as a rock and roll disc jockey. They liked me and said, hey, can you sell? My answer is always, yeah, because I think I can learn how to do that. And I said, sure, I could sell. My father said no to everything. I convinced him, I can convince anybody. So I have this kick-ass, if I want it, I'm going to take it. And don't get between me and what I want. Right? That's the attitude we have. Do not even think about getting between me and what I want, because no is the beginning of every yes. And just because you said no, that's the beginning of the conversation. So mentally in the morning, I script about my future. I built a big house, which is completely paid for, before I moved in on the ocean. It took me 8 years to save the money for it, which, when you tell civilians, they're like, 8 years, it would have taken, people 28 years. And I'm like, nope. I had a determination. I was going to make the money. I saved every commission check. I saved every dime I could have. My stereo's 20 years old. I don't care. I'm driving a 15-year-old car because I have a vision. And that vision is I'm going to have a house, a castle I call it, on the water. And it's going to be paid for before I move in that house. Because the greatest wealth you can have is to have no debt or no unnecessary. By the way, it's okay to have business debt because, there's a reason you can pay for it. But our world lives on credit cards, as we all know. But your job as a leader to make yourself so secure, so grounded in what you want and how you're going to get it. So your physical energy, Every morning you should be writing out, this month we're going to attract and sign up X number of students. We're going to get PR from the local media, free PR. I mean, think of what you want and write it out like it's already happened. Because what happens is most people only use words as affirmations. Words are not powerful. It's the emotion energetically that you have that actually imprints on your subconscious mind pictures of that. Your whole subconscious mind purpose is to match the pictures you've created with your reality. Now, this is what I've taught my whole career in this business. And, so many people are so skeptical and they're looking for the magic button. There is no magic button, but there is not only hard work, but there's smart hard work. How are you using the facilities that you have in so positive ways that it is the natural next step to reach that goal. Everything is the natural next step. You're preparing yourself. So also physically, are you visualizing? Are you literally visualizing the details of everything that you want? And for the love of God, visualize big, okay? So I went to this, I go once a year to sort of a meditation place. It's called the Monroe Institute, and I won't give you all the details to it, but it's up in Virginia near D.C., in Charlottesville, and it's a higher consciousness place, and I've been going for years. And one of the homework assignments was to imagine, that you could have anything. You can imagine you have anything. So everybody wrote out what they could have, and they're supposed to share it. So all these people who are very small-minded start talking about their little house, and they don't even talk about it's paid for, and and their car, and all this like little stuff. So I go in and go, I want a big mansion. I want like 100 acres. I want to have a bunch of horses, a bunch of dogs, and I'm going to have all this stuff. And they were all like shocked. Why would you do that? And I said, it's your imagination, for love of God. Why are you limiting yourself into your own imagination? So the worst thing that happens is you imagine getting to the moon, but you only get to the stars, whatever. You're getting farther ahead. So our epidemic today is that the media does nothing but cause fear and doubt within everyone so deeply that they don't have the ability to actually imagine big things, huge things. Okay, the next thing is our mental energy. How do you start your day? If you start your day with prayers, you start your day with meditation, you start your day with talking about what you want, imagining it, scripting it out. How about what you are allowing in your energy field? Because everything is actually in influencing you. So if you listen to the news, as I'm sure most of you hopefully do not, it's like taking poison, opening a vein, and sticking it in. Because the whole news, and by the way, I was on TV for long enough to watch the truth behind the news, which is they get scripts. It doesn't make any difference what the actual news is. They get a script. And a lot of these people felt completely out of integrity reading scripts that they actually knew were lies. And so everything in the media is one big script. And we have an agenda giving them the scripts. So the media is completely bought out by 7 corporations in the whole world. 7. They are telling people how to think. And so they're teaching us to be victims, to be afraid, everything in the newspaper or magazines. And that's how they catch everybody. Because if they can make you afraid, if they can give you doubts, they can control you. Is that true? So all of you have access to unbelievable amount of positive information. It's just a matter of put it on, listen to it, stay away from all that. I got rid of cable. We now got streaming, which is forever trying to, you spend 30 minutes looking for something, but you run out of time to watch anything by then. But it's this, and by the way, all the TV shows today are so programmed with, how they want us to see life, or the way that we should be accepting things that in the past we've never accepted before. So limit that. Stay away from negative people who only want to talk about how ill they are and their latest physical problem, and who's not doing what, and just love yourself enough to control the environment that you're in all the time. So the next thing we want to talk about is definitely our financial energy. We have to do the smart things. We have to know where our money's going. We really have to get people around us who are aligned with us, who are loyal to us. And I want to add something that you may or may not have heard before, but behavior is a language. Behavior is a language. Example, let's say you're in a social group and someone treats you with disdain and acts like they don't like to be around you. What are they telling you? It's a language. Or you're in a business environment and someone shuns you and doesn't want to talk to you. And if you actually sometimes would say to them, is there a problem? Excuse me, have I said or done, this is my favorite thing to teach people. Have I said or done something to offend you? Because, that brings things out. And then they all go, I'm kidding. But people who kid you in detrimental ways actually hate you. They're just too coward to tell you they hate you. So it is a language that you have to pay attention to, that you'll see in your staff. You can see in the people, you can see in the parents, you can see it all around you, because people are such chicken to actually tell the truth about how they feel. Now, don't ask me how you feel. I'll tell you. But I will tell you, most people's languaging, they're hiding. So, with that said. But your finances is something that you must pay a lot of attention to. Be careful who you trust. I'm sure you've heard about other people coming in and stealing. And there's all kinds of ways people steal. They can steal by just, fudging their timesheets. They can steal by, recommending somebody else's services and not your service. They can steal by talking bad about you, saying something negative to the people who might be buying. There's all kinds of ways. So just pay attention to your finances. It's super important. I also would like to talk about your spiritual energy. We are blessed daily with a lot of power that no one ever told us growing up. The human being has a massive amount of abilities that are hidden from us. The ability to visualize things and that they manifest. How does that happen? Is that like some secret? No, it's just the fact that our brain, everything is the law of attraction. If you're thinking about your success and you're thinking about what service you are actually gifting to the world, people feel that. And when they feel it, they feel comfortable, they relax. They want to deal with you, because most people are actually trying to sell you something. Now, I've always been in sales, but I see sales very different from most people. To me, sales is nothing but I wish to educate people and find out if what they need and the services I have match. And if I can match those services, I'm a good fit for you. I'm the first one, and I do have a lot of people who want to, coach with me or work with me, and they'll tell me about them. I'm going, I'm not the right gal for you. And even though I want the money, folks, trust me, I want the money. I like money. You got to love money, because money makes everything work. But if I'm not the right one, I'd rather be of service to someone, because will they remember me? I could tell you lots of stories of things I've turned down, who those people have been so impressed with my integrity that actually recommended me to other things that I was more aligned with. And so your spiritual energy, whether I'm a spiritual person, I'm not a religious person, I'm spiritual because I believe that I can be in touch with all that there is, the infinite intelligent, walking on the beach, riding my horse, just out in the sunshine. I don't have to be in a building. I am connected. And that's because I choose to be connected. And because I choose to be connected, I tap into this source of power of intuition. I am very intuitive. When I was a kid, my father could absolutely, because he was not an educated man, he was a self-educated man. He liked to read. But he felt things, and he could say, there's going to be a big storm coming. We have to prepare. We have to take care of the animals. And nothing on TV about a storm coming. And he'd go, the TV, that's bullshit. They don't know anything. He said, we could feel there's a storm coming. We're going to prepare. When we would go places, my dad would say to me, okay, we're going in. The first thing you need to do is when we sit down, is you need to be staring at the door, and you got two alternatives of getting out of this place. You need to pay attention. You need to be aware of your safety. You need to be always acutely aware, because you're a little girl and nobody's going to save your ass but you, okay? Don't think anybody's going to save you. But he taught me this intuition of pay attention to how I feel. If I meet someone and I don't feel right, if your belly is actually your second brain. I also want to tell you about on a physical level, what you eat and your gut health will determine how well you think in life. If you eat a bunch of junk and sugar and stuff, and not that I don't do my share occasionally of that, your thinking becomes clouded. Does that make sense? You don't make good decisions. You have lost your autonomy to be powerful when you eat junk that messes up your gut, because then it messes up your intuition, it messes up your power. So I definitely want you to pay attention, and I have been as guilty as anybody else, desperate for an assistant, desperate to hire someone to fill a slot that somebody's gone from. And somebody comes, they have a fantastic resume, they got the dance show going, and I'm like desperate to hire somebody, but there's a little thing inside of me going, I don't know. Everybody can lie on their resume. Not sure, but you're so tired, you're so frustrated, you have so much responsibility that you hire them. And of course, 2 weeks later, what the hell? They got to go. And I have lots and lots of stories about that. But I live my life we have the right brain and the left brain. You have to have the whole brain thinking. But I will tell you that you need to take your left brain and analyze the circumstances the best that you can. Make a list of here would be the positive, here would be the negative. But then you've really got to listen to the gut. How would I feel if I actually did this? I will also give you a little hint. If you have a decision that you have to ponder over for a long time, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Because truthfully, when something's right for you, it sort of energetically feels right at that moment. So the ladies in the room will appreciate this. We like to shop, right? We like to shop. Okay, so we're shopping, so we're looking for something. And all of a sudden we see something, there's an instant, I'm going to buy that. Or there's an instant, nah. But life is like that. There's this instant, or there's this instant, kind of feeling. If you get that, if you got to push it, you got to force it, you got to make it happen, it's not the right thing. You would be better off to hold off and not make a decision. Does that make sense? But our society is very much push, push, push. You got to ask yourself, am I going to be in my power and make the decision of what's right for me? Or am I going to allow somebody else's energetic power, influence to take over, sway me out of my good common sense, my hesitation, and I take that move? So when anybody pushes me, when there's any kind of serious pressure, I immediately back away. I don't care if it's like, buy today and the next hour and you're going to save blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm out. Because if you got to be this damn desperate to sell me something while you got me in a state of panic that I'm going to lose, because that's how the trick is. I know how to do it. It's just, you got to live with yourself and look in the mirror, at least I do. So these are little energy things I wanted to share with you. Self-talk. On an average day, the average person, 80% of their thoughts is negative. So can you imagine what it's like on a bad day? If 80% of their thoughts is negative, also, I always want you to be aware of that if you would keep track of your inner thoughts, you would actually, just for 2 weeks, and it's a pain to do that, but if you kept track of it, that you had a continuous doubt or worry or fear, be aware that that is the blueprint of your future. You've just laid out the blueprint of your future. So I start to realize if I have a fear about something or feel scared about something, that I have to stop and I have to face my fear. I literally have to say, okay, I have a fear, I have a doubt, I have a worry. Let me get to the root of this, because if I don't get to the root of it, it's going to eat away at me. It's going to suck all my vital energy out of me. It's going to make me be less of an authority of my own decisions. And by the way, this is not fun to do sometimes. I mean, I've been in some really desperate situations. My husband, we got very ill one time, and the nurse came out and said to me, he has a 3% chance of making it till tomorrow morning. But you got to make all these decisions. And I'm shaking like a leaf. I go in the bathroom, I look at myself in the mirror, and I said, I'm going to face this. He could die. I have to face he could die. And I cannot just fall apart and be emotional about this. I have to really rise to this occasion. And then I walk into the room with 5 doctors, and practically, I gave them hell beyond words. I won't tell you why. One had made a bad mistake, which was part of the problem. And I went in there like a warrior like you have never seen before. And I basically said, you have no idea the hell I'm going to rain on all of you if he dies. So, people are saying, we're going to call the police. Call them. Because when you're on the line like this, it is absolutely stand up, bring out the warrior, whip out that sword, and take charge of your life. Now, I can't teach this stuff at IBM, all right? I can't teach this in little, small businesses, but you folks, you are the warriors. You are the sage. You are the hero journey of our future. And we know there's chaos coming. Somebody's got to rise to the level of leadership. You are those people. And I'm going to end up by saying your point of power in this lifetime is this moment. Don't lose those moments. So thank you. I've been honored to be here.